So I'm perusing the H41 report of the Federal Reserve because, well, what else is a gold guy going to do on a rainy Wednesday afternoon? And I notice a very unusual anomaly in the Fed's balance sheet. I'm putting it out here. The Federal Reserve considers its assets to consist primarily of guaranteed loans to the US government. These are treasury bills, notes, and bonds, and also government guaranteed mortgage backed securities and other securities. But it also considers other items to be part of its asset base. The gold certificate account we've discussed many times in the past, but included in the Fed's asset register is the value of land and buildings owned by the Federal Reserve. The inclusion of physical assets makes perfect sense. What doesn't make sense is a large write down in the value of these physical assets. As of the end of April of this year, the Fed considered their land and buildings to be worth $621 million. 1 year ago, the value was reported as high as $1.3 billion. And this is a 68% drop in 1 year. To highlight the rapidity of this change, let me go to the graph available from the St. Louis Federal Reserve Fred database. We can see here that from 2003 to 2012, the value of land and building on the Fed's balance sheet increased steadily, and then it remained fairly constant for nearly a decade. Now, all of a sudden, the reported value of building and land is falling off a cliff. It's not entirely clear to me what this means. Actually, that's an understatement. This is completely baffling to me. The only way I can think a movement of this nature is permissible under generally accepted accounting standards is for the buildings and land to have been sold. But why would they need to do this? Are they insolvent and trying to avoid the need to mark up the value of their gold certificate account? Wait, I should probably explain that last comment. In accounting, the difference between assets and liabilities is shareholder equity. The Federal Reserve is a privately held corporation. Its total assets are $8.939 trillion. Its total liabilities are $8.898 trillion. That means that its shareholder equity is just north of $41 billion. It's leveraged 216 to 1. If it had to mark its assets to market in this rising interest rate environment, then it may very well already be insolvent, because after all, the bonds that it considers to be its assets would be worth less than they have been in the past. Now, it does have a trick up its sleeve, though. If it were to revalue its gold certificate account at current market prices, then its assets would increase by $489 billion, making its leverage ratio a more reasonable 16 to 1. Obviously, though, it hasn't done that. At least not yet. So, I repeat my question. What the heck is happening at the Fed? And what is this signaling? And another question I have for you. Got gold?